Thanks very much for staying with us. Time now for Eye on Africa with me, Georgia Calvin-Smith. Tonight, on the final day of rallies before landmark elections in Ethiopia, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed says that the vote on the 21st will stand for peace and stability, despite the ongoing ethnic clashes and conflict in parts of the country. In Tunisia, the death of a young man in a working-class neighbourhood during a police encounter in June sparked protests against police brutality. Human rights groups say the impunity officers enjoy must end. And hundreds of thousands of people forced from their homes around the eastern Congolese city of Goma by a volcanic eruption last month are struggling to get by. The government's been encouraging them to return to Goma, but many are still stuck in surrounding towns in dire living conditions. But first, campaigning for Ethiopia's key elections next week wrapped up on Wednesday. They've been delayed twice so far and come at a tense time. It'll be the first time that Nobel Peace Prize laureate Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed will face voters since taking office in 2018. Participating opposition parties took to the streets of the capital for their final rallies on Wednesday. Meanwhile, Abiy headed to Jimma in the south, where he promised his supporters a peaceful and unifying vote.
The forces who will compete in this election, those who love and want to serve Ethiopia, those who magnify the unity and liberty of Ethiopia, all of them, I wish them the best of luck in this election. Our issue isn't protecting Ethiopia's unity. Rather, it is making Ethiopia the strength of the Horn of Africa.
Well, despite the international praise that Abiy's widespread economic and social reforms attracted when he first came to power, the country today faces ethnic unrest, an economic crisis, and warnings of rights abuses and famine triggered by conflict in the northern region of Tigray. Nearly 1/5 of constituencies will not have elections next week. Some opposition parties are boycotting the vote, including the main ones in Abiy's home region of Oromia. Despite the hurdles, the government says it's determined that things will go smoothly. This report by Maria Gerth-Nicolescu.
Kidan is getting ready for his guard shift at the polling station. Elections are drawing close and the situation is volatile in Oromia. Their rebels and government forces clash regularly. This community leader joins a pro-government militia to protect voting stations from attacks by armed opposition groups.
Askechatti galmaa asitti sagalee kennus gara fuuldura jechaadha. Waan addaa akka karaa filannoon keenya filannoo dimokiraataa, filannoo nagaa, filannoo qaqqabeessa waan ta'uuf karaa kanaatiin wantichi caasaan kan barbaachise as eegama.
The elections come at a tense time for the country. Ethnic clashes have left hundreds dead. In Oromia, the main opposition parties have decided to withdraw from the race. Some of their leaders are in prison facing terrorism charges.
Almost all of the offices of OFC were closed down by the ruling party government. Members are massively detained. Our communication is totally cut from the public. Because of this, we left the election.
Many young Oromos are frustrated by the lack of political alternative. This student used to support Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, who's also from this region. Today, some of his supporters feel disappointed.
Sagalee keenya filachuudhaaf sagalee keenya mootummaan utoo filanne kana booddee iyyummaa irraa gara hojiitti gara dinagdeetti gara sochii dinagdeetti deemna kan jiru hawwii akkasiitii fi abdii akkasii horannee ture jechuudha. Haa ta'u malee wanni ta'e sun waggaa tokko booddee bifa jijjiirrachaa gara mootummaa abbaa irra jijjiirameera.
36 million Ethiopians have registered to vote. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed took office in 2018 after his predecessor resigned. This election is a chance for him to establish his political legitimacy.
Now, South Africa's seen the highest daily jump in COVID-19 infections in 5 months. That jumped by 13,246 on Wednesday, double the weekly average. And in a bid to rein in a third wave, President Cyril Ramaphosa's tightened restrictions extending a nighttime curfew and limiting sales of alcohol. Oxfam has sacked 3 members of staff following an investigation into allegations that included those of sexual misconduct, fraud, and bullying in Democratic Republic of Congo. An independent probe also found claims to be true against a 4th person who is no longer an employee. The international charities said that it looked into other claims but were unable to substantiate them. Oxfam has been operating in DR Congo since 1961. The inquiry began after 20 former and current staff sent a letter containing the allegations to the organization's leaders in February. Now, in Tunisia, the death of a young man during a police encounter on June the 8th sparked unrest, which was exacerbated when a teenager from the same neighborhood was later stripped naked and beaten by a policeman in the middle of the road. This led to several nights of tense protests against police abuse in the capital. Our team reports.
Young people in Sidi Hassin, a working-class suburb of Tunis, protested in the streets for a week. The unrest was sparked by 2 incidents: a young man's death, of injuries apparently sustained in police custody, and a viral video showing a minor beaten by police and stripped naked. The incidents triggered mass rallies against police brutality.
يستفز فيه بطريقة مباشرة أو غير مباشرة معناها يستفزك في الكياس في دارك في المركز. نحن الأمني ما عادش نهربوا له ولينا نهربوا منه نحن الأمني.
Witnesses say the police stopped Ahmed bin Ammar in the street and then beat him in a police van. He was later released and left for dead. His mothers called for someone to be held to account.
ونتمنى ما حاش حتى بشيء، انا حاش بحق ولدي كامل مازال ما فهمناش ونتمنى من صوتي يوصل.
An official investigation has been launched. The Interior Ministry initially denied witnesses' account of what happened to Ahmed bin Ammar. However, they said a policeman involved in the beating of the minor has been suspended. Campaigners against torture who help victims of police say it's a long-standing problem.
Pourquoi est-ce que les choses ne changent pas en Tunisie? Pourquoi est-ce que la violence policière, que ce soit torture ou mauvais traitement, reste très répandue? La réponse tient en un mot, c'est l'impunité. Tant qu'il n'y aura pas de sanctions, les choses ne changeront pas. Personne n'aura intérêt, en tout cas les agents de police n'auront pas intérêt à changer leur comportement tant qu'ils n'auront pas été sanctionnés.
The UN Human Rights Commission expressed its concern about the issue, and 67 civil society groups have filed a lawsuit against Prime Minister and Acting Interior Minister Hichem Mishishi, who is directly responsible for police forces. The government did not respond to our requests for a statement. President Kais Saied summoned Mishishi last week, and Parliament announced they will also summon the minister for a hearing this week on police violence.
Well, hundreds of thousands of people forced from their homes around the eastern Congolese city of Goma by a volcanic eruption last month are still struggling to get by. Going back to their old communities isn't really an option for those who say that they've lost property and have no means of making a living.
The climb will last 5 hours. This team of volcanologists is going to the top of the Nyiragongo. It's 3,400 meters high. They are monitoring it after it erupted last month, killing more than 30 people. The only good news is that since then, these experts have received more funding.
Avant l'éruption, c'était pénible parce qu'on n'avait pas assez de moyens financiers. On allait d'une manière irrégulière, soit une fois le mois. Mais depuis que l'éruption a commencé, ça c'est la deuxième mission. D'abord sur terre, mais aussi on a fait plusieurs survols avec l'appui de la MONUSCO, par l'hélicoptère.
These experts want to put an end to a rumor on social media that says that the volcano is no longer active. Last month, the eruption forced hundreds of thousands to flee the city of Goma. Today, many have been able to return home, but some have lost everything and are stuck in the town of Sake.
Nafasi ya kulala hakuna, tunateswa hapa, tunala nje. Masomo lishakuwa kidogo, wengine banala nje. Basi baridi ngita maliza watu tena.
The authorities had feared a limnic eruption, which has so far luckily not occurred. That would have sent carbon dioxide gas dissolved in the depths of Lake Kivu up to the surface and would have suffocated all the people living in the area.
And finally, a whopper of a diamond has been unearthed in Botswana. The 1,098-carat stone is reckoned to be the 3rd largest of its kind in the world. Take a look at that. The country already has a pretty impressive record when it comes to ginormous gems. The world's 2nd largest, a 1,109 diamond the size of a tennis ball, was also found in Botswana in 2015. Well, that's it for Eye on Africa. Thanks for joining us, and do so again if you can. Take care.